Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 901. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Or in Vancouver.
And Kat in Edmonton.
Kat is representing the household today because Chris, for a third week in a row, has no voice to talk. But he has no voice today. You're telling me, Kat, right?
Yeah. Very just a gravelly growl kind of thing going.
Is he trying
Kathleen Turner sort of thing?
How seductive of a voice is Chris going with right now? Probably
Or Lauren Bacall. Where are we going with here?
It's more skewing towards like Chewbacca, to be fair.
Oh,
very seductive.
yeah.
I didn't mean to say that.
I didn't know we're already getting kind of blue on this podcast here with that.
I'm more of a Krzyzak guy, the guy from Mandalorian with the armor, or Boba Fett, or whatever the hell he was from.
I think it's all part of the same franchise, as we'll probably discuss.
I'm sure
here.
Stop correcting me. I know he's from some cartoon.
No. I'm not going to correct anything.
No, not you. Nerds in general.
Oh no, whatever. Just Chris is on the podcast later on because we recorded our Planet of Giants commentary back when he had voice, like Eris from Kinda, but that's part two of our commentary for Planet of Giants. The story so renowned they cut 2 episodes into one because they hated it so much. But Kat joins us, so thanks for stepping in, Kat. How you doing? How is life during a Verity hiatus right now?
Oh, like I was saying earlier, I miss it. I miss talking to the Verities, even without talking about Doctor Who. I miss talking to the other Verities, and we'll be back. We'll be back.
One day you'll be back.
One day.
Yeah.
The moment has been prepared for, maybe.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, it's my intention on this show to whenever one of us is out, or maybe even just to have people on. It's just nice to get Verities involved, just to make sure the recording button works, make sure that the software.
And awful convenient too. Let's be honest here.
2 of them are very convenient to have on the show.
Yes.
But it was nice to have 5-6 of the Verity podcast on at Gallifrey One too. So because the Verity Galley wrap up, that was the thing, and I always liked it. So not having it was a bit of a thing. But you're here today to talk about Doctor Who and Star Wars, apparently, because they had the Star Wars Investors Summit.
Onslaught of info
in Europe, where all the investors who want to buy into Star Wars all gather in one place.
That's exactly what they are. Yes,
and they present like us little planning boards of what's going to happen and stuff, and then people go nuts about it. And so they announced, and because it's all on Disney Plus, along with Doctor Who. I hasten to remind you in 7 months' time. So, new movies announced that will
maybe. We'll see. The track record is not good, so I hope they become movies, but
I don't know. I'm trying to think. In the past movies, like the Wonder Woman, I can't remember her name now.
Oh God!
Right?
I can't. It's completely escaped me, and I should know.
Like Gal Gadot.
No, the woman who directed and wrote, I think, both movies.
She's now person not grata. She's evaporated.
This is embarrassing. I do know her name most of the time.
Yeah, starts with a P. Don't add us. But I can't remember if they actually like did a big hullabaloo on a Star Wars celebration stage and say, "Look, we got." I don't think they did.
A little bit, I think. They did. There was a trailer where she talked about her dad being a fighter pilot and then how that inspired her. And I think they showed that at Celebration a couple years ago.
Okay. Because, this time around they actually had Daisy Ridley out there and she's, I'm in a new movie and stuff. And
which I think is cool because I want to see what's happening with Rey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's set 15 years later, so she's like starting a new Jedi Order, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh. I haven't actually looked at many of the...
Patty Jenkins.
Patty Jenkins. Thank you. I haven't actually looked at the details of it. And then there's one that is basically wraps up all of the Mandalorian / Book of Boba Fett / Ashoka, which they had a trailer for. Let me. I know people out there are big fans, or some people are anyway, of like the Star Wars Rebels cartoon show, and I watched it once and then kind of forgot about it, and I feel like you kind of need an emotional connection with the animated show to really appreciate the trailer for the new TV show Ashoka, which is coming to Disney Plus.
I don't have one, and I thought it was a cool trailer.
I was just going, okay, I don't know who these people are. Oh, there's Chopper the droid. I like him. I don't remember this person.
To be fair,
who's this guy?
I read the Zahn books way back when, and the moment she said Thrawn and we saw the back of his head, I'm like, yeah, Thrawn! So that's basically, I'm just as guilty except with books.
Right. And then they said heir to the Empire, and I says, oh, is that a thing? Because that's somebody.
That's one of the books, yes.
It's the name of a book.
It's the name of a book. Sounds like homework to me. That just sounds like homework to me.
Still gonna watch it though.
You had Ahsoka in The Mandalorian, so if you've seen The Mandalorian, you know who Ahsoka is. You don't have to have seen. I mean, the animated series does a great job of explaining why she's super, super important.
Right.
And that she was trained by, Anakin before he became Darth Vader. Mm-hmm. And why she's this very different Jedi compared to other Jedi before her.
Do the Wikipedias.
I don't want to
either look it up on Wikipedia or just enjoy the show for what it is.
See, this is I'll probably watch it. But
probably you will watch it.
Well, there won't be a Baby Yoda in it, which is
that's fair.
Which is my main concern, because I do realize that as watching Mandalorian season 3. I'm just I kind of zone out a little bit whenever Baby Yoda's on screen, and then they show a reaction shot of him, it's Baby Yoda, and then I go back to going, okay, let's just get on with it so we can see the next Baby Yoda close up.
Can I just address to this week's Mandalorian, which was delightfully silly as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
I just want to quote, I can't remember who he is, some random guy on the Twitter who said, people are getting mad about this episode, and that the show is called Armor Man and His Lizard, who he sometimes feeds macaroons, which is basically what it is. I mean, come on, guys. Star Wars has always been silly. It's always going to be silly. If it's a little sillier this time, big deal. I thought it was a hell of a lot of fun. Also, it had battle droids, and I love those incompetent buffoons. So
Right. This I know. I watched the no spoilers. I don't want to spoil too much for those who are sort of catching up on it, but it was delightfully silly. Excuse me. And what I think I enjoyed most about it is that there is probably a sector of Star Wars fans that really hated it, and so I could tell as it was happening, I was thinking, oh, they're gonna hate this. They're gonna hate this right now. So, which amused me. Here's the thing. Here's because I think a lot of people saw Andor and as adults, and they thought, oh my God, this is Star Wars has now finally grown up with me, and now we have Star Wars for adults, and it's the best thing ever. And then Mandalorian came back with, as you say, like, Armor Man and his space baby friend, and now they think that's just like twee and insubstantial and not proper Star Wars anymore. And it kind of reminds me of I'm going to tie this to Doctor Who. Surprise, surprise.
I figured you would, yeah.
When Caves of Vangezzani came along, and everyone thought, oh my God, this is amazing, and it is. But then, like, Eric Sayward basically said, well, let's just make Caves of Vangezzani all the time. And so, like, it all became, like, grim and violent, and season 22 was basically Caves of Vangezzani trying to, recapture all of that. And it didn't work. And the kind of, like, Andor's great, and so is The Mandalorian, and both could exist in the same Star Wars universe. And
same with the cartoon stuff. Like, it's not for me, but so what? That doesn't mean anything. And a whole generation of people love it, so that's their Star Wars.
I know,
including Kat.
I know, Kat. Yeah, Kat. You who has? I mean, I'm still clutching my pearls about your disrespect of the original Star Wars trilogy, but that wasn't your Star Wars trilogy that you grew up with, was
wrong.
It? Yeah,
categorically wrong.
No, because you grew up with the prequels.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as basically once episode 4 kicks off, that history to me isn't interesting. Like, it's not a part of history of Star Wars that I'm not interested in. Mm-hmm. I like the lead up to that, and then after episode 6, the building of the new the new world order and the new world and the reinstitute, the Jedi coming back and rebuilding what they've lost. I mean, I'm in it for the Jedi. I really don't care what Luke is doing until he figures out that he's going to be a Jedi, which really isn't until the end of episode 6 anyway. And that's when he starts looking to train other people.
Right.
So I don't care about 4, 5, and 6. But that's me. I'm more interested in, 1, 2, and 3. I want to see how the Republic fell, and I want to see how Palpatine rose to power and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of the last Star Wars trilogies that actually made it to be made. So you kind of have to admire the fact, after so many false starts since Lucas sold it to Disney, you sort of think, well, you know what? You got 3 more movies made, so good for him with the prequels and stuff. But anyway, Ahsoka coming to Disney Plus in August. Which means,
along with a ton of other stuff, The Acolyte is another one.
Oh, The Acolyte! Yeah, this thing I have no idea about. I keep thinking I thought it was a movie. To be honest, I didn't. I haven't been paying attention to that at all.
I know slightly more. Kat, do you know more about the High Republic than I do? It's entirely possible you do.
Just like the video game. Stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, is there a video game for the High Republic? This is Old Republic and High Republic are 2 different things. So,
I think there is.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe I just played it in my head. No, it's a book series. It's a book series.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking of.
And it's comics too, I think.
Yeah.
But it's set like 100 years before, basically. It's kind of the Star Trek Discovery, as I curse it, of Star Wars. So it's all Jedis at the height of their power, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Or House of the Dragon.
Actually, it's interesting because the books that I read for High Republic are no longer considered canon. So I have to now.
There was the whole canon shift, wasn't there? Once The Force Awakens came along, it says actually all those books you read. Basically Disney gaslit a whole generation of fandom thing.
But High Republic is after Force Awakens and all that. This is a whole different thing.
Oh my god!
This is a whole different multimedia push that is now becoming a movie and TV show thing.
Oh no!
Yeah, there's basically like 100 books that I read as like a teenager that are no longer canon, and then we just politely pretend that they don't exist anymore.
See?
Including Heir to the Empire, which is now being sort of shoved into Ahsoka.
Oh boy.
Kind of.
I think this just proves my point that reading books is just a waste of time. None of it's real.
That's exactly what the conclusion is to come to. Yeah.
I never read them, and look, I don't have to erase my memory of them, which is what
you don't have to anyway. They don't control your brain.
Don't follow corporate orders. Like, who cares what Disney tells you?
No, I'm going to the Disney place, and they're going to show me what I'm supposed to cheer for, and I'll wave my lightsaber in the air and go, "Yay!"
There's no such thing as official pretend. You can believe whatever you want. It's all made up.
Mm-hmm. I joke about having to do homework and stuff, but I tell you what, I'm mildly worried when Doctor Who finally shows up on Disney Plus in November, thinking, okay, here we go. Here's 3 new episodes, brand new show on Disney Plus called Doctor Who. Here's the 14th Doctor, and he'll be gone in a week. It's just like, what? What do we? So I joke about having to learn homework to watch anything these days. It seems when it's connected to a wider reality. But I'm mildly worried about people asking the same questions that I might ask about Star Wars bits that I'm not familiar with Doctor Who, because all of genre has a backstory now, for better or worse, and so there's nothing new. But we don't want anything new. Come see Return of the Jedi in the theaters once again this April, because that was announced on Saturday as well as we're recording this. Also, what was announced just now, literally as we sort of press record here on Saturday, is that Gallifrey 1 tickets for 2024 are now on sale. $125 for the full weekend for adults. You can get a full weekend for teens as well for $75 and $35 for children. So yeah, that's exciting. This is exciting. This is the bit where it doesn't sell out quite right away. It's the hotel block whenever that goes on sale, which is the Hunger Games, of course. But so yeah. If you're planning on going to Gallifrey 1, and I think you should plan to go to Gallifrey 1 if you can, tickets are now on sale. The only reason I haven't bought one yet is because I'm recording a podcast. So, but I'll be sure to buy a couple when.
I didn't let that stop me. I just registered.
Did you really? Wow.
Well, the line on my Safari browser is still pushing, so we'll see.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, my credit card says yes, I have. So there we go.
Okay, well, look at that. Warren's the first of us to maybe Chris.
No, second. Chris already did it.
Chris already did it. He's been working in the background doing the draft of the website post that you may or may not see on Twitter because we're I don't know Twitter. Anyway, so Gallifrey 1, very much looking forward to it. Obviously, Chris and Kat, you're looking forward to it too because you've already got tickets while we've been recording this. So. Excitement. Also exciting in Doctor Who land. This happened so long ago that it feels like very old news because it happened on Monday morning. Jinx Monsoon will be in the new series of Doctor Who. Ncuti Gatwa's first series of Doctor Who. This has been months in the making. Russell T Davies was on Jinx's podcast a ways back, as I recall. I don't know if that was the spark that got Jinx onto the into Doctor Who or what, but the internet did erupt with enthusiasm. Now, Warren and I are not watchers of RuPaul's Drag Race, but Kat, you have indeed watched the show and are familiar with Jinx.
Yeah. They were on season 5. Mm-hmm. And they won. Spoiler. I mean, everybody knows now. There's so many seasons since then.
Right.
And then they won one of the All Stars. They bring back a whole bunch of drag queens from previous seasons that have either won or have done really well, and give them a chance to win the Queen of Queens. And she won that too.
Well, cool. And then they're on like Broadway, I think, and I've done like a concert tour. Anyway, Josh Snares did a great post where they said, it's you might not know who Jinx Monsoon is. I don't because I don't follow. But that's great because a whole bunch of people do, and now they might actually give Doctor Who a chance where they haven't before. And this is just a way of sort of broadening the audience and stuff. I wonder who Jinx is going to play. Of course, everyone said that Ronnie because
Oh, because we always say that.
It's always Ronnie.
Although, I wouldn't mind. I'd be okay. I can live with that.
Or maybe a new character, but we're not interested in new characters.
What I love about this is for the umpteen millionth time, all, meaning probably the 10, people who said, well, now that Chibnall's gone, Doctor Who won't be as woke with RTD back. oh, buckle up, boys, because you are in for a show.
Worldwide famous drag queen Jinx Monsoon on Doctor Who in a major role. Yep. Love it. Awesome. Yep. I love it. Love it when Doctor Who expands my horizons, because as we've often
because nothing else will. You refuse to let anything else do
exactly.
it. So, yeah.
If it's not going to come into Doctor Who, then I will not know about it. So it's
it's also having the opposite, like bringing Jinx Monsoon fans to Doctor Who, because I have friends who have never watched Doctor Who somehow, and they're British, who are now going to give it a shot because Jinx is on it.
Wow,
that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's how you build a brand, everyone. So that'll be cool. Also, with the Radio Times put out their TV top 100 list this past week. Guess who is on top of that list? It's none other than Doctor Who himself, Ncuti Gatwa. That's cool, I guess. I mean, the fact that he hasn't even been properly on screen yet as Doctor Who. I'm going to keep calling him Doctor Who because I love. I think we should keep calling the character Doctor Who.
Of course, you should.
Yeah. So it's great. That's awesome. Yay, Ncuti Gatwa. I can't wait to see him. He's been all over the place. I was wondering how this would work out when basically we've got David Tennant coming back for 3 episodes really quick, and then it's Ncuti Gatwa, and like how they would sort of approach that. And I think they're doing a relatively good job of sort of like not having both share the spotlight. It's been very much Ncuti Gatwa.
I suspect Tennant will be in the spotlight when it comes back, and that'll be that for about, let's say, a week, and then they'll kind of cede the scene to Ncuti Gatwa. He's already done this once anyway, so, and he's probably busier than he was back in the day.
Probably is, yeah. I think I saw him announced as part of a cast for something recent.
Star Wars stuff, isn't he? Isn't he in Ashoka as
he's
a robot?
He's in a robot. Isn't he a voice of a robot? And
maybe it's actually, I can't remember which one. One of the Star Wars is this?
Yeah, one of the. I think it's a robot in.
It must because he was in.
He was in
Rebels as a voice.
He was in Rebels,
so then he must be in Ashoka. Yeah.
Yeah. He was in something else though. So very busy actor is David Tennant. But Shurigawa, well done. Well done, Shurigawa. Can't wait to see you in Doctor Who. Coming up. Riverside Studios may be forced to close. Riverside Studios was the TV home of Doctor Who for much of season 2 and season 3 way back in the 1960s, and it may be forced to close unless there can be some money put into. I know this is like first it was BBC TV Centre getting changed and turned into flats for the most part. There's still some offices there and stuff like that, but yeah, now the Riverside Studios, which you could I think almost see the back of when during the location shot for Dalek Invasion of Earth might be closing.
It was closed in 2015 when we were there. So I remember taking the train and going past it a few times, going, but never actually going in or anything.
What, TV Center or Riverside Studios?
Yeah. Am I mixing the two up?
I think you're mixing
like the old TV Center, the big circular one.
The big circular one, yeah. It was closed for renos or something. It wasn't open. It wasn't ready for us.
That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
But no, this is Riverside Studios. So, yeah.
Wow.
I don't think this is. I don't think it's a GoFundMe for Riverside Studios or anything like that.
No, it's not a medical procedure in America. What are you talking about?
Zing.
It's not that much money either that they need. I mean, it is in the grand scheme of things, but to consider for like a building, it's not that much money.
Like £500. I mean, it's the eye-watering energy bills which seem to be afflicting all of UK because Brexit is going great. That is leaving the venue struggling. So that there.
I saw somebody highlight the BBC theme before they go into the news, which is fantastic. And they're like, BBC giving us this absolute banger of a tune before they tell us we're going to pay £400 for our energy every month.
Happy days in the UK. You had a good time though, Kat, didn't you?
Going great.
Yeah, I mean, you went over there recently. Apart from Chris getting a cold that renders his voice useless for 3 weeks, it was a pretty good trip, right?
Yeah, aside from me, falling down half a flight of stairs at a tube station and having to go to A&E, but,
right.
NHS was great.
There we go. Bless the NHS. But R.I.P. to your fledgling stunt career. I'm sorry that...
I'm no Stuart Fell.
But who is, really?
Who is?
Other than Stuart Fell.
That's true. Jester of the Year, 1993. There's a new game out. There's another new game out for mobile for Doctor Who. It's called Doctor Who: An Unlikely Heist. It literally just launched like late last week, like April 7th or something like that. So I haven't had much of a chance to play it. Have either of you loaded it up on your phones?
Played the intro, by which I mean I watched the intro, and then they materialized. There's a horse-drawn carriage, and I said, I'm out. I got things to do. Very exciting, I'm sure.
Wow.
Yep.
Kat, do you play this at all?
I am aware of it now because I've read about it on this list.
Literally, you're discovering it live. This is a live reaction video in a way. That's awesome. Yeah, I played it a little bit. So you basically you're Doctor Who and Yaz, and you show up at this place and it says, oh my God, things are happening. Then you go, let's go find stuff to get out of this situation. And then it takes you to the screen and you basically have to search for objects that are sort of hidden. And those little searches get harder and harder as the game goes along. Or sort of say more challenging.
There you go.
A countdown clock starts to happen too. And it gets a little tougher and things, but yeah. We'll see how far I go on this. I don't play many mobile games, so this is a bit of a stretch for me to begin with. But I just like that there's more Doctor Who stuff out there. Given that they just came out with one as well, the East Side Games one, the Lost in Time mobile game, like that was launched like a month or so ago. So this feels kind of weird to have another one from a different provider. Anyway,
you finished Edge of Reality, right? I have not.
Edge of Reality, that's the
Xbox One, yeah. Well, and everything else, console, basically.
I did. I finished. Oh God, you know what? We're washed with Doctor Who games. There was the mobile game that had the
Lonely Assassins, which is quite good. As what I played of it.
Yeah, I played it. I did that. I went through that whole thing in one go. Actually, I enjoyed that one so much. And yes, I did the Edge of Reality, which was VR first, and then they ported it to Xbox, and I played the Xbox one, and it was like first person, which is a little iffy for me. But I tell you what, it's not as iffy as the VR version, where there's no like teleport when you move. Like I can't actually just sort of like smooth move through a game, and I didn't go very far at all. Like literally, I went 2 steps, and that game says nope, I cannot do this. So I couldn't play it.
I have Game Pass, so I have a big list of games that none of which I play. I just play GTA. One of them is Edge of Reality, which I actually did pay for, and it's just sitting there guilting me because I have not played it since it came out, and I got to Victorian England. I don't know how far in the game that is.
I think you made a little further than what I would expect if you weren't. So well done, well done.
Right. Well, thanks. I'm not sure if that's praise or not, but all right.
Yeah. Kat, do you play any of these the Edge of Reality games or any other ones that we've been mentioning here?
No, I watched Chris play the Edge of Reality one for a little while, but I can't play video games because I can't do anything while I'm playing them, and to me it feels like unitasking is like the worst thing I could do with my time.
Right.
That's why I play GTA, so I can listen to podcasts as I'm flying across Los Santos.
Yeah.
Which is what I do. I just listen to a podcast. Like, I listen to Meet the Press while I utterly destroyed meth dealers.
As one
Just
does.
like in real life.
Just like in life.
Hey, Hutchinson, what do you think as I'm rocket bombing people?
Yeah, I get you. Sometimes I kind of like, I've been playing Age of Empires now since it's been out on Xbox. I thought I just sort of, like, I used to play it like madness back in the PC days, and I thought I would just sort of get it as like a curiosity when it finally came out to Xbox, and no, it's an obsession. I've been like each game I play.
This is like Train Spotting when he goes back on the stuff.
A little bit. Oh yeah, I know. And like when I'm playing it, it's basically like the phone's down. I'm not looking. Like I'm just focused on this game, which is kind of nice. I have to be honest. I know you just poo-pooed unitasking, but as I feel like I'm always multitasking, and so sometimes it's just nice to sort of like, you know what, I'm focusing on this right now, and it's great. So,
yeah, and I mean, hey, I love that for you. Just I can't do it because to me it seems like I'm wasting time that I could be studying for school or trying to make money.
Right.
You know, whatever.
Trying to make what? Come on. Who wants to
capitalism, man?
Yeah, tell Zeke you're working for your car, man. You're not. You don't have a car. I'm just quoting a Simpsons episode. Anyway, Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, An Unlikely Heist, now available on Apple Arcade of all places. I had that. I can't believe I had Apple Arcade. I thought, oh my god, there's a Doctor Who game on something I didn't know I had a subscription for, so I got it. Some audio stuff. Doctor Who, The Teeth of Ice. What a curious title. Is an original Doctor Who audio for the 8th Doctor. It's coming to CD and probably download via BBC Audio on August 3rd. It's written by Andrew Lane, and it's read by one Dan Starkey, who's a nice fella and a funny fella and good at voices. So that's coming there on your amazon.co.uk queue. And Big Finish also announced a new series of Peter Davison audios for 2 more adventures in space and on Earth. Conflicts of Interest, with the stories Friendly Fire and The Edge of the War being part of that, with Davison, Sutton, and Fielding. So you're looking at some pre-Turlo stuff there for Big Finish and
knowing
Doctor.
Nothing about conflicts of interest, I just assumed it's about him fighting insider trading in the city in the 1980s.
That's exactly what. Yes, you read the blurb, obviously.
Incredible!
Yeah,
what a genius I am.
That is that. I think I think there should be more stuff with like trade negotiations and stuff like there is in the prequels. There should be more of that in Doctor Who. I think is what we're learning.
There should have been 80s. What's his name? That American Psycho guy. He should be in the prequels.
Christian Bale.
Great. Yeah, but his actual character name escapes me.
Oh, Matt Smith, because he played him on stage.
There you go.
Yeah, I did. Matt Smith. He was in Doctor Who, don't you know? There's also Big Finish also put out a trailer, a video trailer for the first installment of Once in Future, their 60th anniversary, Past Lives. So you can watch that as well. Links in the show notes, radiofreescaro.com. And one last bit before I hit the Timelash. Peter Day has passed away. Peter Day was one of the first people to join the BBC visual effects department way back in the 1950s. He died at the age of 95. He started working on Doctor Who in the Evil of the Daleks, Tomb of the Cybermen era, doing all sorts of stuff for Doctor Who over the years. So yeah, I love the ingenuity of early TV special effects. I know I poo-pooed the Web Planet last week on this show, but damn it, they did their best with what they could at the time, and I always appreciate all those people work. So yeah, Toby Haydock had a nice post about Peter Day on his website, age 95. All right, let's dip back in time. How about why don't we with the Timelash, where we look back at this week in Doctor Who history, various things that occurred. I'll tell you what occurred on I should say April 9th is the first day. April 9th. Happy birthday. He's not alive anymore. To C.E. Bunny Weber. Bunny Weber was one of the people involved in the very early days of Doctor Who, sort of came up with some ideas that were eventually incorporated into the very first episode of Doctor Who. His nickname was Bunny, so that's amusing.
That sounds like a English public school. Oh, Bunny!
I say
very rich dandy. I don't know if it's anything like this at all, but it does. It just conjures up. Remember those spies were communists in the 50s? That's what it makes me think of.
Nickname Bunny. I say, Bunny.
Yes, Bunny. How can he possibly betray Queen and country? His name is Bunny.
No, Bunny's in a bit of a right situation now.
Also, C.E. Weber could have been very loyal to his country. For all I know, I'm probably besmirching his good name.
I know C.E. Weber sounds like a proper author, and Bunny just sounds like somebody who's a footnote in Doctor Who history, which is kind of
that's about right.
What he is. Also, happy birthday to Neve McIntosh, who played Madame Vastra so wonderfully in Doctor Who over the course of the Stephen Moffat era. She was born 1972. So, anything else you want to talk about that happened on April 9th?
A couple of things.
What do you got
unless
there, Warren?
Kat has anything she wants to jump in with.
Nope.
What do you got, Warren?
First of all, Paul Wheeler's The Dream Spinner is canceled because we always have to look at these canceled things. I made a point of looking this up right now because because Chris does that and I didn't want to be slack. Apparently, it was supposed to follow the invasion, and a plot concerned an individual who could make people believe their dreams were real, which sounds awful familiar.
Ooh.
And it was replaced with the space pirates for budgetary reasons, because you get your space pirates in there.
The space pirates just filled in so many gaps. So it was probably the 8th different episode. They thought, you know what? We just can't make anything work.
The other thing I want to highlight is one of the worst recording days and best recording days.
Okay.
2009, End of Time recording. 2013, Day of the Doctor recording.
Wow.
So that's a good bookend there.
Within 4 years of each other. Yeah. One of the worst Doctor Who episodes ever made. And one of the best.
And one of the best.
Yeah. Yep. Recorded around the same time. How about that? April 10th. Happy birthday, Timelash writer Glenn McCoy, born April 10th, 1954. Yep. Story about which this whole segment is named, The Timelash. I watched that recently during my Doctor Who pilgrimage.
Sorry.
It's still not good. But as I have often maintained, it has the DNA and the structure of being pretty much the very first Doctor Who celebrity historical. It's all there. You could take the script for Timelash and rejigger it and stuff like that, but there are so many elements that would easily just be inserted into like an RTD or Stephen Moffat era celebrity historical. So it is that going for it. Anything else? April 10th you want to talk about? I can see one or two things here, but anything you two find that you want to mention?
I know Nutch 65 I'm going to cede to you because you're going to want to talk about this.
I will. Okay. Well, I'll talk about right now. The Beatles are recorded performing Ticket to Ride at Riverside Studio 2, the aforementioned Riverside Studio in Hammersmith. After discussions about having the Beatles appear in The Chase are unsuccessful, this footage is made available instead. Oddly enough, that was for, I think, an episode of Top of the Pops, the episode of which no longer exists. So Top of the Pops missing episode hunters that hate Doctor Who look at the episode 1 of The Chase and go, oh, well, there's the 44 seconds of the Beatles that we can never have back. So there you go. What'd you have in mind there, Warren? Do you see anything?
There is 1980. John Bennett is commissioned to provide a storyline entitled Soldar and the Plastoids, which would also be a great band name. But I looked on Shannon Sullivan's other site, which then lists off or same site, I suppose.
Right.
Lists all those different missing episodes, and all it is just it was a Tom Baker thing. There's no further details.
No, but what I'd like to know is, and I don't know, this is the first I've heard of him, so people can correct me if I'm wrong, but John Bennett was an actor who was in Doctor. He was somewhat infamously Lee Sen Chang, and it was also the general in Invasion of the Dinosaur. Was he also a writer, or is this an entirely different John Bennett?
I mean, it's entirely possible. Lots of actors are also writers.
That's true, but I'd never heard of him writing stuff, but so I don't know off the top of my head. That would be quite fascinating if indeed he was. But here's a fascinating thing: 1967, April 10th, Denise Buckley is cast as new companion Victoria Waterfield. No. I don't know if I've ever heard this tale about Denise Buckley being. I know we talked about April Walker, who was originally cast as the companion opposite John Pertwee for season 11, and then getting basically told no, John Pertwee doesn't like you because you want someone who's smaller and less buxom, literally. So we can't cast you. Yeah, I know. That's why it didn't work. So
I completely believe you.
I know. I just didn't know anything about Denise Buckley actually being cast in Doctor Who. This is the first I've heard about it. Now that I look at her, she was in an episode of The Prisoner, which I think Dance of the Dead. I think she was in The Prisoner. I had no idea. She was originally cast as Victoria Waterfield, which, of course, Deborah Watling was eventually won the role. But how interesting. Anything else? Jumping out at you for April 10th that you want to mention? You want to bring up? No?
Kat,
anything?
I'll mention, just because I'm a bit of a troll, 2009 recording for The End of Time takes place in Penarth, Wales.
Yeah. That's fair.
They decided, having had so much fun the previous day, they said, let's just keep recording it. You sure? Sure want to keep that? All right.
Some people love it. They're wrong, but they love it. Going back to our previous Star Wars discussion.
Yep. Not this podcast, let me tell you. Anyway, now I get to find out about Denise Buckley.
Here we go. Here's the mystery solved.
April 11th. We're discovering along with you folks. April 11th, 1967. The role of new companion Victoria Waterfield is recast with Deborah Watling replacing Denise Buckley. What happened in that day?
Denise Buckley showed up late or something. Who knows?
I don't know. Like, it might just be something like, just, you know what? I think we should probably get someone else. I don't know who. So for a whole day, there was someone else other than Deborah Watling as the new companion.
Or more likely, some high up didn't like her for some arbitrary reason, and that's why there was a recasting. That'd be my guess.
I don't know. You know, maybe there's a contractual thing. Maybe there was a actually no, I've got this other job. Maybe she twisted her ankle on the way to signing the contract and says, nope, you're out. We're recording in like 2 weeks, so guess what? We got to recast. I mean, sometimes it's as simple as that. So who can tell? Are you a fan of the Keys of Marinus? Because episode 1 of that, The Sea of Death, premiered April 11th, 1964. Happy 59th anniversary to the Keys of Marinus, everyone.
It's more accurate to call me a fan of the Vord than the Keys of Marinus specifically. I am Vord-pilled, but I don't know if I'm a Marinus-pilled.
Oh, are you a fan of the Vord, Kat? Are you as...
Yeah, I think I'm with Warren. Less so the episode.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a George Cloris fan, and he only shows up in episode 1 of Keys of Marinus. He was in Citizen Kane, don't you know?
Was he? Who was he in Citizen Kane?
I don't know. He was Citizen Kane. I don't know. Who was Citizen Kane?
How dare you?
Who was he? Did Brando play that?
I don't know.
Who played that, Warren?
Let's just stop talking immediately about anything but Doctor Who. Go back to what you were doing, please.
All right. It was Orson Welles. Or was it H.G. Wells? Who did Warren? Who did?
I refuse. Like, Kat, I can accept your trolling. I will not accept Steven's.
All right.
Steven just beat me to it because I was going to do the same thing.
How dare you, both of you. You should be disgusted with yourselves.
Gang it up on you.
Also, I was just reading about Orson Welles and Oscar War is an excellent book, and Citizen Kane, and how it got... Basically, that movie got completely screwed because everybody recognized how great it was, but because he did everything, which was completely against the business model of Hollywood at the time, of some producer telling you everything to do,
Right.
And it being a studio system. That's why they hated the movie so much, because it basically completely screwed the business model with the auteur theory. And
didn't know that.
Not even theory, auteur practice. So that's part of why. And then only in the 60s, when French directors and New Wave and then the guys from the 70s came in and praised it up and down, did it get its due and proper. So you should love it, Stephen, because it was loved by the directors you love.
Oh, you know what? I remember watching it many moons ago, and it's still a movie from the 1940s. So the acting style, I think, is different.
It looks phenomenal, though.
Yeah, this is the thing. I've seen clips of it, and I think, you know what? I really need to give this another chance, because just the technical and style choices for that movie back in 1941. It's just like, yeah.
Like the deep focus, nobody did that at the time. It's insane how, but you're right. It is very much a da 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 40s, but it's also capturing that time as well, right? So I mean,
yeah, it is. Hey, look at this. 2007, Jane Tranter, the BBC's controller of fiction, which sounds like a character from The Mind Robber.
it does.
Asks Russell T Davies to remain Doctor Who's showrunner for season 31. But he declines, that being, of course, what turned out to be series 5. So yeah, asked him to say, do you want to come? Nah, you know what? I'm going to stop being in Doctor Who for 15 years, and then I'll come back. How does that sound? Perfect.
With the same guy for a bit, and then somebody else.
Yeah. So that was interesting. Also, 2012, I imagine there were probably many people in New York on April 11th, 2012, scouting out filming locations and where people
Probably
were
friends
shooting.
of ours.
Yeah, probably, because they were shooting The Angels Take Manhattan in New York City.
I was in Central Park and I'm like, is that The Rock? Is that The Rock? That's got to be The Rock. Central Park's a little too big for it to, I may have stumbled across it. I will never know. So
Right. Yeah. I haven't seen many pictures of people at that place in Central Park where they shot it. I just felt like it might be like kind of a pilgrimage, like, oh, here's the part where Amy Pond was like, had their last thing when she was writing and reading a book with the dog. I've never seen what that is. So maybe when you go to New York next, Warren, you can do that, and only that, because there's nothing else to do in New York City.
absolutely nothing. Not a thing. Nothing that isn't Doctor Who related.
None.
There was a bar called the Way Station, but it's sadly gone now.
I remember that. It was in Brooklyn. Yeah, I went to there once.
It had a TARDIS bathroom door. That's basically the extent of its Doctor Who-ness.
I recall. There's also a TARDIS bathroom door in that American-style diner in Cardiff that's no longer there.
But that's also in Doctor Who.
It was in Doctor
more
Who.
official.
Yeah, exactly. All right, on to April 12th. Recording for The Chase takes place at in Ealing, which is basically the big battle between the Daleks and the Mechanoids in The Chase, which is on the season 2 box set, which is I've sort of been going on along in the background. I don't like The Chase, so we've had both The Chase and The End of Time in this time.
That's it. Cancel the show.
Yeah, it's a little bit bad. But I tell you what, we do have April 12th, 1969, debut broadcast of The Space Pirates, Episode 6 on BBC One. Space Pirates.
That's it. Cancel the show.
Well, it's it's famous for being the most misunderstood Doctor Who story of all time. Kat, you're a contrarian. What do you feel about The Space Pirates? I feel like this should be your favorite Doctor Who story ever.
I've watched it once and I don't remember anything about it.
Okay.
Like, I know I've watched it.
No,
but...
that is the proper opinion of The Space Pirates.
I read the book and I don't remember any of it either.
No. Well, I'll tell you this. Episode 6 did not feature any of the regular cast in the studio recording. All the bits were recorded on film because they were busy shooting location stuff for the War Games. They needed an extra week to do that because it's 10 parts. So I think it's the only time in history that none of the regular cast were in the studio when they were making an episode of Doctor Who. So there you go.
A Doctor Light episode, if you will. A cast light episode.
Oh, yeah. The Doctor and, the first episode, they don't show up until, I think, like literally 16 minutes in to a 23-minute episode. It's stunning how little they're in that episode. But, yeah. So that was cool. Anyway, also that 7 years after that, or 6 years rather, debut broadcast of Genesis of the Daleks, Episode 6 on BBC One. A much better remembered episode of Doctor Who. So, April 13th. Let's move on. Happy birthday, Peter Davison. Peter Davison turns however old he is turning, and oh my God, he's 72. Peter Davison, the young doctor, is 72 now, as of April 13th.
And he worked more than most on other things other than Doctor Who.
He still works. I saw him show up in something else recently, and I think he's Kat's favorite. I know where does Peter Davison rank in your ranking of favorite doctors, Kat?
He's still my favorite doctor.
Yeah, I thought so. He's great. I love Peter Davison. Sometimes I forget.
He's up
about
there for me too. I agree.
What do you like about Peter Davison so much, Kat?
I don't know. I just like his stories, and he was the first doctor that I saw. I mean, it was on the 5 doctors, but he was still the first doctor, and I just kind of, the whole duckling thing of, the first doctor you see is the doctor that you connect with.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tom David.
And also the only famous person I've ever cried when I met, and then felt very silly afterwards.
Oh,
he was very nice about it, though.
Oh, I'm sure he gets lots of reactions to people meeting him for the first time. So that was lovely. Have you met him since then? Since that first time, or is that it?
No.
Oh,
no, just once.
He's a lovely person. I like Peter Davison. Like him a lot. Happy birthday, Peter Davison. What else? Anything else jumping out at you for April 13th that you want to talk about? There's some stuff. I don't know why Siri always thinks that I'm talking to her when I'm talking to that, but
speaking of the sad, but death of Richard Herndl, a mere year later, the second actor to play the first Doctor.
I know. Yeah, I think the 5 Doctors was his last role, I think, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, died April 13th, 1984. So, which is funny because a lot of people probably saw more of Richard Herndl, like Kat, than actual William Hartnell being the first Doctor. But
and now David Bradley, they've definitely seen more of him and heard more of him too.
Yeah. 1967, April 13th, Michael Peacock, I don't know who Michael Peacock is, somebody at the BBC, backtracks on his statement of April 5th and suggests that Doctor Who could be replaced by a new program called Bonaventure. Although this does not ultimately survive past its pilot episode. So, yeah.
See, I half expected you to go, Michael Peacock backtracks on calling C.E. Bunny Weber a communist. Not true. Not true, he declares.
Untrue. I think we talked about this last week, didn't we, Michael Peacock? Because we reasoned that maybe Michael Peacock was somehow related to Daniel Peacock, I think. I can't remember his name now. The one who plays Ray Purchase on Toast of London, and it was in Doctor Who himself.
I believe the day. I'm going to say that now.
Well. All right. Anything else on the 13th that you want to mention other than sad stuff? Apparently, possibly not. Let's
a hell of a lot of recording.
A lot of recording.
That's about it.
Let's move on to the 14th before we get to the big day on here. Happy birthday, by the way, Peter Capaldi, born April 14th, 1958. On the same day, on Terrence Dicks's 23rd birthday, Peter Capaldi was born. Peter Capaldi was born to be in Doctor Who.
Terrence Dicks is a secret dad.
Yeah, sharing the same birthday with Terrence Dicks, that'll get you far. And also, Pip Baker died the very same day in 2020. So really,
damn.
Well, I mean, people don't like Pip and Jane Baker. I do. I think they're fine, but so that's exciting. I just like it that 2 Doctors Who and both of them named Peter have birthdays one day apart. I just think it's kind of neat. That's all. Anything else jumping out at you for April 14th? You want to bring up?
1964, Louis Marks is commissioned to provide a storyline for Planet of Giants.
Oh, coincidence.
Look at Kat with her tie-ins to what's happening. Yeah, providing a storyline for Planet of Giants.
I love that story so much.
Do you
That is
really?
one of my favorite First Doctor stories. It really is.
Why is that? I'm curious.
Because I grew up in a time when I there were so many stories of people getting shrunk down to little miniature size.
Like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
that's what I was
kind
thinking,
of thing.
yeah.
And there's some animated series as well.
It was a real thing back in the day for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know. That story just has always made me really, really happy to watch it because I'm like, look at all the giant oversized props And they're normal size, but they look small because of the giant oversized props.
Mm-hmm.
I'm easily amused.
Well, so is the British viewing public, apparently. So.
Apparently, yeah. But hey, 10 million people watched that, so someone must have loved it. Warren, I got to point this out. April 14th, 2007, debut broadcast of Gridlock on BBC
Excellent,
One.
Excellent. Chris isn't around to defend it, or not defend it, so deride it. So I will be here to defend it. It's just a ton of fun, and at the end, that speech, cribbed from the First Doctor, or from Susan specifically, is phenomenal. I love that bit. I can't watch it now and not get choked up. It's a great little bit.
It's a good episode.
Also, the death of the face of Bo is fantastic. I remember a friend of mine when it happened, who's not even a huge Doctor Who fan, texted and said, "The face of Bo is dead. A big plastic head. It's dead. I'm sad. What's going on?"
I know, it's affecting, isn't it? Isn't Doctor Who great when it does, when it leads into stuff like that?
And he goes, "You are not alone." And at the time, we had no idea what that meant, although we had a hint of it. But we didn't really know what it was. And that was the first kind of, hey, by the way, we're bringing some stuff back, more or less. So
I kind of, other than like, I mean, they did Daleks and Cybermen and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
I know, but the bringing his backstory, not making a point of it all being new, which made complete sense at the time.
Right.
They're like, the time is ready now in season 3 for us to start threading stuff in. Which
they threaded it in as opposed to leading with it. They led with,
exactly,
hey, Daleks are back, Cybermen are back. But this time
you can't not do that. Yeah.
They seeded the Master being, and then it was actually a surprise of when it was. Yeah. Yeah. Good episode. Good episode of Doctor Who is Gridlock. Let's go then. Last day of this Timelash, April 15th. Happy birthday, Kat. It's your birthday on April 15th.
Yep.
You share a birthday with legendary Doctor Who director Peter Moffat. Not so much legendary, but that's fine. You share a birthday with Maisie Williams, Kat, who played Ashildr. Did you know this?
She saved Westeros.
I did, and she is exactly 10 years younger than I am.
Wow. Now you know how we feel when you see people that are...
No. She's not a demon of the ancient world as we are.
Mm-hmm. What else happened on your birthday? Look at this. In 2009, the BBC announces that Beth Willis will join Stephen Moffat and Piers Wanger as executive producer of Doctor Who with Series 5. That happened on your birthday, Kat. Happy birthday, Kat. Beth Willis is going to be a producer on it.
Makes all the difference.
Perfect response, Kat.
Yep.
To Stephen's nonsense.
I know. Hey, Peter Davison's first story that he made was being made because his first day on set was actually his birthday, his 30th birthday, shooting Fort of Doomsday. So that carried on, Kat. Several years before you were being born, your favorite Doctor's first story was being made. I hope that makes you happy. Fort of Doomsday.
Does, obviously. And you have 2006, the debut broadcast of New Earth, and 2017, the debut broadcast of the pilot, which are both stories I like.
Oh, look at that. And they're first stories of new seasons, too. So, like, you get to celebrate your birthday and a new season of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Were you even a fan of Doctor Who in 2006? Because you were Torchwood and then Doctor Who, so you couldn't have been a fan. Well, you could have been a fan, but you weren't at that point, right?
No, because it was after Torchwood started, because I started watching with season 2, with the season 2 box set,
gotcha.
Blu-rays.
Mm-hmm.
So, no.
So you're retroactively celebrating your birthday while watching New Earth, so that's cool. Well, all right. Well, we'll wrap it up there. We'll wrap up on Kat's birthday. I can't possibly top that. And thanks for stepping in, Kat, at relatively short notice. For your sick housemate, your sick lesser half. Hope he gets better.
I do too.
Yeah, and I hope that Verity gets back up and running in the near future, so that you can podcast more regularly again. Because it's been nice to have you.
Thank you. It was fun to be on. It's been a little while since podcasting. I
know. Well, you'll be back at it. You'll be back at it soon enough. So. But we'll be back at. Hey, now you could be watch and listen, Kat. Live. We're not doing it live. You don't have to sit and watch an episode of Doctor Who for the next 25 minutes. You can do it at your own time. But we present now part 2 of our classic series commentary of Planet of Giants.
Are the microphones wired in?
More on the
condense our most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
Welcome back, folks. It's time for us to conclude our Doctor Who Classic Series commentary for Planet of Giants with Part 3, Crisis. So here we go.
Crisis-tunity.
Yeah, I hope you have still kept up to date with your legally purchased Blu-rays, DVDs, and VHS copies. It's fabulous news because we're going to watch it right now. Part 3 of 3, Crisis in 3, 2, 1, play.
What happened to the cat? That's the key of this whole...
Well, thankfully, nothing. As televised, nothing. That's what. So basically, we're watching the birth of Mission to the Unknown is what we're watching right now.
In a manner of speaking.
Very roundabout way, because so the backstory, for those that don't know, Planet of Giants was originally 4 episodes. The people who made the show saw the last 2 episodes and went, not enough is happening. Let's truncate this down. Let's chop 2 episodes into 1. And so they did. Roughly half and half is of Part 3, Crisis, and Part 4, The Urge to Live, make up this episode. But at the end of the whole production block, they looked at the balance sheet and says, yep, listen, Doctor Who production office, we're the BBC and you still owe us 1 more episode, so make us another episode. And they couldn't make it with any of the regular cast because they have already been contracted out, even though most of them had moved on by that point. So they had to make Mission to the Unknown to basically a contractual obligation episode because of what we're watching right now. There you go.
I was just thinking, can you imagine if Barry Letts and 1970s CSO were unleashed on this? Oh, my God. It would be, I don't think it'd be as good, frankly.
I think you might be right.
It'd be too much CSO.
Actually, yeah, we were running down previous instances of miniaturism, and I suppose the miniscope, oddly enough, is another thing when they're running around in it, and there's, jamming and tuning forks and stuff. And
oh, yeah.
Miniaturization in Into the Dalek.
Into the Dalek as well.
Armageddon Factor.
We did mention that, yeah. But this is a recap, because that was 3 weeks, of course, ago, and not at all an hour, because we're recording this all in one day, believe it or not, fact fans.
Good point.
Yeah. Write that down, future documentarians. We recorded this on January 15th, 2023.
Okay, first of all, nobody document our nonsense. And secondly, we better hope they don't.
Yeah. Don't worry, it says so in the production code of this episode, which you can find in the metadata. You can't. There's no production codes, sadly. The production code of this story is J, for what it's worth. J. I know, Warren, you wanted to know that, so that's why I told you.
Just reminds me of when Ernie and Bert's TV gets stuck on letters and it keeps saying J.
Does it really? Maybe they're watching Planet of the Giants.
It drove my mother completely mental.
Oh.
She's like, turn that off. I can't take it anymore.
They were either watching, or maybe watching a smattering of Planet of Giants, The Macra Terror, and The Demons, perhaps.
More smoking, by the way.
More smoking.
Doctor Who smoking.
Yeah. There's got to be an instance of somebody has jotted down. Probably Simon Guerrier in the back of Doctor Who magazine with sufficient data has probably mentioned the instances of smoking in Doctor Who. I want to say the last time people were smoking in Doctor Who might have been, oddly enough, on a spaceship in the 22nd century in Resurrection of the Daleks.
I think you might be right.
Yeah. I don't recall anyone smoking after that. What a weird director. What a weird thing when you think about it, Resurrection of the Daleks. We got to have her smoking on the bridge of a spaceship. It's
yeah,
so...
It's very odd. Well, everybody's so snarky, which I liked at the time. And now it's kind of a little grating, to be honest, even though I love Resurrection.
Yeah, I just... Did the original script that Eric Sayward wrote? Yeah, she's smoking in the set. Make her
They
smoke.
could just rename Resurrection of the Daleks Toxic Workplace.
Oh,
Like,
God.
it literally is every single way you can think of. Down to the Daleks running around, polluting everything with their mutant.
It actually
mutant
makes it a little better, honestly. Like, oh, I'm glad this new Dalek regime is taking over because,
Yeah. They've got a bold new vision for this company.
yeah, because Ruel Letzka is a tyrant. This is something that we don't do anymore, which is a shame. I want people to have, like, on an iPhone in a conversation in a movie, and this is, wait a second, let me put my friend on the line, and then pull out a handkerchief and put it over your iPhone, and then it sounds entirely different.
Well, most of the time, if you're doing that, it's because you're doing something sinister to begin with. So we should probably be glad we're not doing that.
I guess so. But I mean, as a plot element, like, oh, I'm going to pretend to be this person. And I don't.
No, your phone dies instead because phones will get you almost out of every movie, basically.
I want to say that there, was it a Naked Gun or was it a Police Squad episode where they had someone do that? They had a gag where and then the person puts a handkerchief over the telephone. And it's quite clearly an entirely different person speaking, which is part of the joke.
My gut says Police Squad.
Yeah.
Just because they have more jokes per square inch, because it's like, what, 8 or 10 episodes? Like that?
6 episodes.
But still, that's just... Is that more than Naked Gun, I guess?
6 episodes. That's all they did.
Yeah.
But Police Squad.
Yep, just
one
6.
of the greatest shows of all time. 6 episodes.
And it's insane how that show, which completely tanked, became 3 huge movies.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially resurrected the career of Leslie Nielsen after it tanked it.
Yeah, forcing him to basically reprise that same sort of role in multiple awful movies.
All of them terrible.
Till he
Although
died.
there's one with Andy Griffith. I don't remember which one it is, but they do a flashback. No, it's him and Robert Guillaume, and I don't remember what the hell movie it is, but they think back to something that happened, and it's exactly the scene they just did, but in black and white. which I have to say, like, the whole movie itself isn't great, but I actually did laugh out loud when I saw that. Like, oh, they're just doing the same thing over again, but black and white. Beautiful.
Oh man. Edmonton's own Leslie Nielsen.
That's right.
Born in Edmonton.
Now, he wasn't the one with the twin brother, was he?
No, it's Conrad Bain.
That's right, Conrad Bain. His brother was a dentist.
Also different strokes.
I can't believe we've had 2 different Strokes references in this podcast commentary series, folks.
Yeah, that's the power of Edmonton.
Yeah. Anyway.
Also, what is Hartnell's face covered in? Vegetation? Coffee grounds? What is that?
Just schmutz.
There's schmutz. Also, we're watching something that was put onto 35 millimeter film because they transferred both master copies to 35 mil for editing purposes, you see. So we were watching a slightly lost generation of, and then of course it was turned into a 16 mil thing for overseas, which is what this comes from. So just in case you're wondering if, hey, wait a second, this picture looks slightly different than the previous 2 episodes. That's why. There's a fade, by the way. That was an edit. A blink and you miss an edit. You wouldn't have noticed that edit from chopping out 8 minutes of material of this episode, did you? It just faded to black.
So it's an omnibus edition is what you're saying.
It is. Kind of is, actually, yeah. Corks. I haven't eaten. Actually, I did. I ate breakfast before this, but I am getting a bit hungry.
Have some DN6.
I want some puffed wheat with
Delicious
a little bit
DN6.
of DN6 smacks. Yeah, that'd be
Yummy.
I want that original prop. Actually, that's just an end
Barbara's
table.
on her last tether here. She's just like, I've had enough of this.
Well, she's
Please
she's
give me
like
that
suffering
size.
from the effects of
Well, true.
DN6. She's playing it well. The hair is going a bit crazy, but
That's okay. She'll lose it soon enough.
Oh, dear.
Jacqueline Hill, 1 convention appearance ever. 1985, I think Penobscot is when it was.
You know what that makes her? Smart.
Boy. What happened at that convention to say, yep, never again. Never again.
Nerds asked her questions.
Yeah, I know.
Or really comments more than questions.
Yeah. I know I've lamented about this on the podcast before, but there was a YouTube channel that was up for a little bit that had 80s convention appearances from the UK with a lot of people who are sadly no longer with us. And that was like Innes Lloyd and William Ems and Jacqueline Hill was on there. And I just, oh, cool. Well, that'll be fun to look. And then the channel disappeared. And I don't know. And I've never seen those convention panels anywhere else on YouTube. And I regret not grabbing them when I had the chance. So if there's anyone out there who managed to grab them, well, you know where I am on this podcast, lamenting not having them. So I'm sure there was some legality issue that probably yanked them down, in which case I have committed a felony by asking someone to provide them for me, in which case you are now an accessory to the crime. The person who is sending me them and you, Warren and Chris, are also accessories to the crime for not stopping me. So,
just add to the list.
Welcome to prison. I do love that Susan here, she's like, watch, her only job is to push a cork. And then she goes, oh my God. Oh, what effort. Oh, geez, that was tough. The other three had to lift a telephone receiver and Susan just had to push a cork. Laying it on a bit thick. Warren, I think you should wear more cloaks.
Any particular reason?
Just I don't know.
Enough like Dracula at the moment?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm more of a Nosferatu guy, really.
Just like, I think more people in general should wear more cloaks, I think.
The problem with cloaks is they're easy to get messed up. Like puddles or splashing or getting caught in revolving doors.
Well, I mean, you don't wear like Hartnell's got a long one, but I'm thinking of
also,
Go on.
Well, I just remember growing up in Alberta, one of the key things I noticed is that there are a few men, probably some women, I just never saw it, that can wear a duster, but not many. And I think cloaks are probably going by the same principle. The odd person can pull off a cloak, but not everybody.
No, I know. That's why they need to be brought back to be maybe a little more, common, so we're not struck by that. I'm still seeing the image in my mind. The 1970 or 71 Grey Cup championship football game here in Canada, and Pierre Trudeau's walking down the steps in Calgary where it was being played, and he's got a big fedora on and he's got a cloak, and
that guy can pull it off.
Man, yeah.
I don't think his son could, but I'm pretty sure he could.
No, I don't think his son could pull off that cloak. I just think
Jagmeet Singh, maybe I could see Jagmeet rocking a cloak.
Possibly. I think
Pierre
that more,
Poilievre, only a wizard's cloak and cackling.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the purview of politicians, I mean, Harry Styles wears dresses sometimes just for the hell of it, and it's like, wear a cloak too. Do a cloak. Let's see. Have a look here.
Pull off a cloak.
Bring it back.
Here's the thing about a cloak. To wear a cloak, you got to be confident. I can tell you right now that ain't me. So
that's true. As 16 years of this podcast / psychology experience has shown.
Skinner box, yeah.
We have, we've belittled you to this point. Anyway, we've just seen the end of episode 3, the original end. And if you think very little has happened, well, and so did the BBC. But a cat has died in the course of the dramatically, and I'm afraid the cat who originally played the cat in this episode is also dead. But the bit about the cat eating the seeds and dying as well was one of the things that were excised, thankfully. So now, instead of Mervyn Pinfield directed Doctor Who, we are now watching Douglas Camfield in his first time directing Doctor Who properly. How about that? See if you can notice a difference. One of Doctor Who's greatest directors. I think it was actually Mervyn Pinfield who said, when they came to cobble this episode together, I think he said, you know what, give Douglas Camfield the directing credit and not me.
I insist. No, I mean it. He gets a gun out. I insist.
Yeah, do not put this on me. In retrospect, it was kind of odd that they sort of divvied up credit. Why didn't they just put both, directed by Mervyn Pinfield and Douglas Camfield? Maybe there was a BBC union rule or something.
Yeah, I would bet there's some sort of crazy bureaucratic nonsense to keep that from happening.
Because I don't even think he's listed as associate producer on this either. But I don't remember when the associate producer credit for Mervyn Pinfield disappeared, but maybe he still had that. I have seen many screen grabs from that close-up used in many different recons of William Hartnell's stories. Whenever Hartnell needs to say something. Where's a good close-up of Hartnell? There he is, right there. You're no help, Susan.
No, she really isn't.
Susan,
why don't you go leave with David and an old duffer like me? One day I should be back, and I won't be visiting you.
No,
you disappointment.
It was a lie.
One more story.
Yeah, one day I should come back. Never until 2024 when the doctor.
Sure, it's never back. Susan. To quote friend of the show, Rachel Donner, it's never Susan.
Imagine if it was. There he is smoking again.
Oh God, why bother? Everybody else is.
Yeah.
Why? Why is everybody so damn obsessed with the first companion? I can probably answer my own question there.
Because of the closure. If he says one day, he says one day, nah, I'm never coming back. But have fun here in post-apocalyptic Earth.
What I find funny about all this Susan idiocy is that Carol Ann Ford's still around. We could theoretically do it.
Yeah.
Or just bring her in as regenerating because she's a Time Lord.
Mm-hmm. Which is that's the thing. You can always just have her regenerate into,
exactly. But
let's face it, she'll have had plenty of opportunity to encounter situations that would force her to regenerate in 2164 AD.
But nobody ever goes for that. They always go for some insanely not everybody, nerds come up with some insanely overcomplicated ways that you could bring Susan back that nobody could actually explain in a reasonable way on television to the not we, which is what television again is for. So it's never going to happen
until it does.
Well, if it does, Russell T. Davies will find a good, quick workaround just to have it happen.
Right.
And so would Moffat, and so would Chibnall, frankly, for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Nerds, just write fanfic if you want it to be complicated.
Oh, I don't know. Who knows what? Listen, literally as we record this, I just want to point this out, is that just speaking of what Doctor Who and the BBC and stuff, the BBC just tweeted out at 9:09 p.m. on January 15th, something to do with the Ninth Doctor. So they do something. They do funny little things that seem like, kind of crazy and pre-planned, and we think it's going to be so. You never know.
Yeah, their social media person is pretty great, actually.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to praise Big Finish's social media person who's got to be under 20 because they really know what the hell they're doing.
Got to be under 20. They understand what TikTok is all like in just a minute. Let me go get that person. But Hilda doesn't. Hilda knows what's up. Look at this. You try to, don't try the old handkerchief over the phone with me. Oh, there we go. All because of snooping telephone operators. That's why the Doctor was saved. Or at least
surveillance state, am I right?
Yeah. Do you remember operators? Ever have to make a call with an operator? I do.
Vaguely.
Yeah, long distance.
My parents, my mom had I was on a party line because she lived in a small town.
Jeez, party lines, man. That is
weird.
That is weird. That's not. That predates me, Warren. I'm not party line. I do remember.
Another thing.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, go.
Working in small towns, as I did in the early 2000s, people would just rattle off the last four numbers. And at first I was like, what? Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, nobody has a prefix that's any different. Okay.
No, that's right.
Anyway, you were saying, sorry.
I was going to say two things. I remember making a collect call, I think long distance from Expo 86 back home because I was like 11. And B, what is the deal with bobbies and their helmet straps that go around their nose? I remember seeing that
I've
on
never
a.
understood that either.
I don't know, but they did. That guy did. So, yep, just put it out. Just go like, what is the point of that? It looks ridiculous. No wonder people are laughing at you, English bobbies.
My sister had a teddy bear. It was an English Bobby. And yeah, same thing. And I could never figure out why it did that with its nose.
Mm-hmm. Big old matchsticks. That would start a big fire.
That thing needs googly eyes. Stat. Come on. Put some googly eyes on that boy.
Yeah.
Hi there, I'm Mr. Match. Why don't you like me?
Nice. You know what? I know Doctor Who has always sort of been educational and stuff, but sometimes it can be dangerous because I've never seen a spray can explode, and after seeing how it explodes in this episode, I want to see how one explodes. So I never thought about it before I watched Doctor Who, but now I kind of want to explode things. So thank you, Doctor Who, for being so educational.
Turns you into a pyro.
I can't remember the reason behind it, but I know I tossed one into a fire pit once.
That sounds
For the sole purpose of it exploding.
yeah.
Puberty? That's probably the reason, puberty.
No, this sounds like probably somewhere in some drinking party in the bushes or something like that. That's what this sounds like.
Either or.
Yeah. Like how the dog's going, come on, you idiot. Don't you know how to light a giant match? There we go.
It's like that they joust it.
Mm-hmm.
I still say it needs googly eyes. In fact,
Yeah.
everything in this needs googly eyes.
I agree.
And of course, all the flame, whatever, off camera.
It's just lighting.
Doesn't exactly exist, I'm sure.
No, and you know what? William Russell does a great job of acting like there's something flaming hot in front of him. Matt, when you were an actor in these days, you had to really use your imagination. I suppose honestly, it's kind of come around to being that again, given how much green screen dominates movies and everything. You know, actors are so used to acting to nothing now. They'll fix it in post.
Yeah, it drove, speaking of Roger Rabbit again, it drove Bob Hoskins pretty much insane.
Oh, I imagine it was.
Although he does a stunningly good job.
No, he's incredible in that movie. I remember I heard him speak once. I go, what? He's English?
That happened to me with the guy who played Apollo. I don't remember his name, but the guy who played Apollo in Battlestar Galactica, because he does a very good American accent.
Jamie
in
Bamber?
Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, that's him. And all of a sudden, I'm at Comic-Con, we're interviewing him, and his English accent comes. I'm like, what the hell? What's going on here?
Is it really? DN6 is deadlier than radiation. I mean, it's made up, but
Look at that wee little gun. That is
I
a
know.
baby's gun. That's a gun you get in your stocking in America.
Oh. See, does a can of a canister blow out like that? I mean, was that an actual canister they blew up, or was that a prop that they had pre-cut? I don't know.
Yeah, no, they actually blew it up. He actually got injured. He's scarred for life.
Method acting, yeah.
Here, there's his big toe. They're just going to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Here, we can eat this for weeks.
Yeah. Let's dig in. So, I mean, it goes under his lip. That's just like the chin strap of Bobby helmets are dumb. There, I said it, England.
It doesn't make any sense.
No sense. They're not even chin straps. They're like...
Sounds like I didn't grow up as bad, basically, is what that boils down to.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've had our last cut of the episode.
The hell with this cloak. I've had it.
Yeah.
Give it back to Frodo.
She requires elvish medicine.
Lambus bread.
Well, and CSO of Elrond floating around, mumbling stuff at him. When I saw it in the theater, Fellowship of the Ring, I'm like, wait a minute, is that CSO? Nah, it can't be, but it sure does feel CSO-ish.
If only. It's a cute little model.
You know, the TARDIS model I have sitting underneath one of my monitors looks better than that.
The windows are the wrong size. Wow.
The way that's lit makes me think, was this shot at like 5 to 10? And they're like, okay, guys.
I don't know. It's on purpose, Warren.
I know. But sometimes you can't tell.
No, I know what you mean. It's draining power, you see. They are getting back to regular sizes. I love this bit where basically you can almost tell William Hartnell's like looking at camera 2 off thinking, see, right there, there you go.
Yeah, you missed your cue. Oh, well.
He's just like, he's looking straight at the camera as he's holding it up. Oh, whoops. Oh, well. No time for a retake.
Where are all the other hobbits?
Yeah. Is that water or brandy? It should be brandy. It's always brandy in those days. Oh, it's water. Never mind.
This should be faking it.
Yeah. Aw, they're having so much fun together. What a great crew.
Nothing will ever happen to them.
Nothing at all. Ever.
Nope.
Yeah. Ooh. How about that?
Neato keen.
Yep. Science, everyone. Science.
Barely, yeah.
Oh. I think they just walked out of the I think they just walked out the front door. Direction wise, that's where they went. Oops.
My geography is all based on adventure, space, and time, so they just walked past the camera there.
Yeah, they're just walking around the back. Yeah.
To that Cyberman who's smoking. He's just there for some reason.
Yeah.
Nobody's actually invented the Cyberman yet. He's just sitting there.
3 years. Just waiting for a costume.
In silver underwear. It's all quite untoward, actually.
Now, I remember watching the version that went out on YTV, which is the Lionheart version, chopped out that last shot of
oh, wow.
Yeah, because with the World's End and stuff, because they didn't.
There are no other episodes.
There are no other episodes.
Avert your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Next episode, of course, is the Dalek invasion of Earth, where we say goodbye to Susan and other people. But good job, Alan Fogg, David Whitaker, good old Raymond.
Producer Verity Lambert, I salute you.
Yeah. And Douglas Camfield, welcome to the rest of your life, Doctor Who. All right. Well, that's it for that commentary. Hope you enjoyed that with us. The next course of action is to select the next classic series commentary. So, Chris, do you have the randomizer open? Please say yes.
She's ready to go.
She's ready to go. That is excellent news. Then begin the spinning of it now. Dipped back into the 60s after a couple of sojourns into the mid-15s. Series 10 we had there for a little bit, but I don't know. I don't remember anything about our commentaries. I don't know how many are left. I don't know how many we've done. I don't have any. We could pick a story that we've already done, and we could look at it as if we had never done a commentary for it before, and then probably say the exact same things as we did like 12 years ago, and I wouldn't know the difference. But we won't have to worry about that because Chris has curated the miniscope to remove the ones we've done before, and he'll have to remove this one once we've done it. Stop.
Modern Undead.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Oh, what are you talking about? I love Modern Undead so much.
It's pretty tedious.
How dare you? Warren, it's the greatest episode of 1983, probably.
Yeah, keep going.
Maybe
Yeah,
love it. Oh, I love Modern Undead.
Of the weeks it was on? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Modern Undead is so great. Chris,
I hate it. It's just kind of there.
Oh, do you like Modern Undead, Chris? Please say yes.
I do.
Yeah, excellent. See, there you go, Warren.
fine.
You're entirely wrong. This makes me happy. Modern Undead, everyone. Serial 6F on the next classic series commentary here, ready for Skaro. Hopefully, hey, maybe by the time we do that, season 20 will have been put out on Blu-ray and we can all watch it off of that.
That's a good one.
How about that?
I mean, it's not impossible.
Not impossible. We'll see. We will see. Anyway, until next time, everyone, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Or in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.